Okay, welcome back, gentlemen. So, I am recording this after the first line of battle video that I posted on the channel. I actually had quite a lot of fun recording that first one, so I figured, you know what, we'll record just one more, and then we'll see what happens. After rewatching that first recording, though, I think I may have made a mistake. I don't think players in this game get to see what the enemy's army composition is until the battle begins, until they detect them on the field. I think that was a mistake that I made in the first recording. There was a couple of plays where I talked with the assumption that both sides knew the army composition, didn't know the deployment. Yeah, so you kind of have to just ignore some of that if you're, yeah. Anyways, so we got a larger battle in this one here, larger map, larger armies, and terrain wise. Okay, we'll go step by step. First, we'll go over army comps. So we have Red here, who is Age. Is Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Anyway, so Age is army composition. So what I did was that I counted all the units because I can't quite figure out if there's a way to bring up a table to see both sides, like what the actual numbered army compositions are. So I just wrote it down here. So red here has 34 line infantry. These dudes here. He's got 12 guards. Oh, very a lot of tanks. He's got 10 dragoons and 6 cuirassiers. So that, for those who don't no idea what that means, basically he's got 10 medium cavalry and 6 heavy cavalry. That's what the layman terms is. I think I'm just going to use that instead because not a lot of people know anything about Napoleonic uh, unit types and what they're supposed to mean. Obviously, if you are playing the game and you're watching this, then you would know. But most of my audience probably doesn't know anything. So yeah, I'll just make it as simple as possible to make it as accessible as possible. In terms of artillery, what we've got is we've got 4 12-pounders. These are the heavier guns, and 8 6-pounders. These are the normal medium guns. I was saying in the previous video, I thought the 6-pounders were the medium. They are the medium. There's a few other lighter variants of which blue has some, so we'll get to that in a second here. And for his irregular forces, we've got how many does he have? Okay, 6 rifles. You love to see him. My favorite unit to see. He's got also 23 skirmishers. These other square dudes without the crosses. In terms of light infantry, he has 18 light infantry, and he's got 8 light cavalry, which is these guys, the hussars. That is his army composition. A lot of heavy infantry, especially with the guards. No Grens, no grenadiers. And if we take a look at blue here, we can see that blue decided to go for slightly more well-rounded army, but he also has like a massive focus on artillery. So yeah, we'll just go over one at a time. So in terms of artillery, he brought a lot of guns. Blue brought a lot of firepower. Blue has, let me see here, 10 12-pounders. He's got 10 of the big ones. He's got 2 6-pounders, which is the medium, the one that the red has quite a few of. And he's got these guys. So these are the smaller guns. So he's got 3 of these 4-pounder artilleries, and he's also got 3 of the 6-pounder horse artillery. So these horse artillery units are basically more mobile artillery units that you can send out along with the infantry and your cavalry as well. I think they can keep up with the cavalry. Yeah, you can see the movement here. Not bad, not bad. Okay. So that's what they could do, but I think they have much less significant firepower. Kind of. Okay. So that's for artillery. For the line infantry, Blue decided to just bring bare bones 53 line infantry. That's it. He's got no Grens, no guards, none of the fancy stuff. For his cavalry, he has 8 dragoons, 8 lancers. These are the shock. Okay, so 8 medium cavalry, 8 shock assault cavalry, the lancers, and he's also got 8 hussars, which are the light cavalry. So he's got a very well-rounded cavalry force. For skirmishers and rifles, he's only got 2 rifles, 23 skirmishers, and 15 light infantry. So, yeah. Um, Red has like the more well-rounded. Well, I say well-rounded. He only has 2 variants of the infantry units. He's got the guards and the light and the mainline infantry. Blue decided to forego that. Instead, he went for a much more well-rounded cavalry, artillery, and yeah, his irregular forces. So it's an interesting matchup. So on terrain side, compared to the previous replay that I casted, we are not an open kind of terrain. There's a lot of forest, a lot of elevation, hills. We've also got buildings, small little towns dotted out around here and there. We do have lots of roads going in and around here, but any kind of like real frontal assault is gonna be quite costly. Just judging by the victory points here, the rightmost star is closer to Blue's deployment, and the other two stars are pretty evenly distributed in terms of distance from the deployment zones. That is interesting. I think here in the center, Red is favored. He can get into this tree line a lot faster, and he probably might be able to deploy his guns a lot quicker by the time Blue approaches the middle. On the left side, well, the star is just closer to the woods on Red's side, just slightly favored on that. On the right, I think just because of how a little bit closer the star is to Blue's deployment zone, he should be able to cap this quicker. But this one's fairly even because it's located right in the middle of the forest here. I don't think both sides are gonna quite see each other until they get into gun range here. That'll be an interesting fight to see. Right. So there goes that army composition, terrain. Even though Blue has more well-rounded cavalry, I don't think his cavalry is gonna really get much play, to be honest. The heaviest stuff that Red has, I think he might be able to get slight advantage in that. Because they didn't bring too much cavalry, right? Not like in the previous replay where one player basically brought half his army, all cav. That was interesting to see. But yeah, okay. We'll go on to the first turn then. Right, okay. Before the first turn, a deployment. Forgot about that. We've got on Blue's deployment here, 3 columns of infantry all stacked up on the roads. He's divided up his artillery quite evenly along with the 3 columns. He's got his medium cavalry spaced out between his 3 columns of infantry. All right, here's the interesting stuff. His light artillery and horse artillery is all deployed onto the left. He's deployed all of his lights, he split up evenly, but his lancers, he stacked 4 on the left and 4 in the center. So looking at deployment, it looks like he's trying to go much more heavier push on the left flank here. Okay, and then in the center as well. He's not giving up the right. He's still got a decent amount here, but most of his light and his cav stuff. Yep, evade on the left flank there. Okay, Red's deployment. He's gone for several columns actually. He's gone for smaller columns, but he's got like 5 of them. He's got one on the far left, got one guards unit there, one in the center left, one in the center. He's got 6 guards and 2 of the heavy cav. And on the right here, we've got 2 separate columns, but I don't know if he intends to. This was just a deployment thing, or he might be intending to maneuver them both independently. That would be interesting to see. He has not quite gone for a spread out skirmisher line. He's concentrated most of his light and irregular forces in groups as well, all in task forces. This is interesting. I quite like this deployment. He's kept his artillery all spread out along the line. He doesn't quite show any real intentions of pushing one side more than the other, really. He does have his reserve cavalry of like about how many is that? Five medium cav on the right here. That'll be interesting to see. Okay, so we'll go on to the next few turns, and then what we're going to do is that we're going to switch around with the fog of war mechanics here, just so that we can show and not make the mistake from the previous replay where I assume both sides knew what the army compositions are. So the scouting in this game, that is really important since you don't really know like what the other guy has brought. At least that's what I'm assuming from what I've seen after rewatching that replay. Okay, let's see. This is what Blue is seeing right now. So we have contact with skirmishers and lights over here. Light cavalry has spotted them in the center. Looking at the further deployments here, it's taking some time to get all of the columns moving. This is the problem when you have like this many forces on such a large engagement zone. That's normal. Looking over here on red. Okay, red can only see the initial cavalry and one skirm in the center here. Okay. In terms of his deployment, okay, yeah, he has decided to go for the split on this right side. So he has 5 separate infantry columns all deployed out. He's got 2 converging in the center here. The 2 on the right are splitting up. Interesting, interesting. These guys on the left are going to take some time to get into action. They're a little bit jammed up in the rear here. This road only really leads to this town before it branches off. So we'll see how that plays out. Right. Okay. Take a look. Fog of War. Okay. Hang on. We'll go with blue. Okay. What blue sees right now? Okay. It's still just the scouting phase for the most part. It's only the lights, detecting all the lights in the skirms. Switch over to red's point of view. Okay, red can see a little bit more of the deployment. He can detect some of the heavier stuff. He can detect the artillery, some of the medium cav, and he knows that there's movement here going for the towns. Okay. But at this point, I don't think there's really much intelligence that you can gather as to what the intentions are on blue side. He's got everything pretty much well evenly spaced out. Yep. I don't think this will affect Red's deployment moving forward here. He'll just keep on going with what his initial plan is. Continue on. Right. Exchanges of fire between the skirmishers. Line infantry now engaged. The light artillery has been deployed up. Okay. Right, okay, we'll start with the left flank here. The infantry is now coming up. They're about to be deployed into the towns here. Red has reached the first town on his side here, and he's also reached the woods, which I was saying in the beginning, overlooking the victory point here. But it is now already contested. Blue has his artillery all stacked up on the light artillery all stacked up on the left here. I think that gave him enough confidence to really push aggressively forward and give him, well, try to give him an advantage, trying to go for this point, which in terms of terrain was favored to red. In the center here, yep, didn't hasn't quite occurred the way that I thought it would, because both sides have managed to bring up all of their forces in an even time. But yeah, over on this side here, as I was talking about, red is getting his artillery all set up. He's got line of fire all the way down here, and he's in good cover. And they've already capped the zone, actually. Yep, so there's that. Now on the right side here, right, so it didn't go the way I thought it would. I suppose either blue was a little bit cautious. Yeah, it looks like he was just a little bit cautious because he did stack all of his light artillery on the left side. He was gunning to try push that instead. But red has deployed all his skirmishers onto the right victory point. He's managed to get them all into this tree line here. He has the slight elevation, he has the cover. Blue now has to go across open terrain to try to contest this. We have on the right side here one of the infantry columns. Still haven't quite deployed themselves yet, but blue's counter deployment here looking all right. It's going to be, well, I think a decent infantry battle. Blue has slight advantage in that he has elevation, but red's lead most infantry is almost there as well. So if you just get up here in time, he might be all right there. But this will be interesting to see whether or not blue commits to try take the star here. Red is still deploying his own infantry forward, so he might have an opportunity to hit this point first before red can concentrate. And on the left here, it's gonna be messy. The left and the center is gonna be messy, but it'll be an interesting fight to see. All right, still have the line infantry moving up to deploy. Okay, blue has managed to repel and take the star. His light artillery has prevailed. He's managed to push that up. But all the heavier stuff is now deployed. So red might have opportunity here to counter. He's only got skirmishers and light infantry here. We have 2 heavy cavalry units along with 2 of the 12-pounder artillery already set up on this slight elevation with the forest behind them, overlooking the victory point on the left side here. It might have a good chance to make a successful counterattack. Blue has deployed the mass of his force on the left side here, trying to go for the 2 towns and the patch of forest next to these 2 towns. He's got his 8 pounders deployed up here, and no artillery on this left side here. That is interesting. We've got a cav charge going on in the center here. Lances against line infantry. And we have quite a few light infantry divisions that are sparsed out here. Blue has a much more well-rounded force. In terms of position, it's fairly even. But if he's able to play around with all these different variables here, he should be able to win that side. Now onto the center. Yeah, everyone just committed. There's no point in trying to just stay here and exchange shots. Red had better position, so he's just going for blue is just going for the assault into this wooded area, trying to get in around here, and then play for the position for the victory point. However, red has deployed all of his guard, well, not all, but the majority of his guards into this very forest which he's attacking into. Can blue actually see that? I think he's only just seen it in the last 2 turns or so. And this is the point of view of blue here. Yes, yes. Stack of rifles, trying to hold on to the point out in the open here. Okay, blue has decided to contest the right star. He's stacked up some infantry. He's gone into column formation. He's going into the melee. Red has not deployed any of his main forces over onto this side. They're still coming up through this forest line over here. He might be able to take it before Red musters up a proper counterattack. On the right here, yep, red has gotten to the elevation I was talking about earlier, but he hasn't quite managed to get the rest of his column all deployed. So blue has a slight advantage going up here. They're all in line. If they push now and they get into firing range, blue is favored for that. Good lord, there's a massive melee going on in the center. Okay, developments. We'll go over the left again. So, yep, blue has managed to get space. He's managed to push forward into this area. He's broken one of the line units. He has a massive concentration of infantry on this left side here. Even though this is a guards unit, you're stacked up against like 4 dudes. I don't think they're gonna last that long. This line infantry is still in line formation against 2 columns. They'll be favored and go into that assault there. The blue has shifted his artillery. Yes, okay. So he's got enfilade fire on this push that's happening in the center left here. He's got artillery, skirmishers. He doesn't have quite a lot in this tree line, actually. Yeah, if red decides to commit here, he might be able to get a breakthrough into the center. Oh, he does have a scout in the back. I was not paying attention to this. So let's just check the vision here. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Red can see that blue is very weak here. I think he'll go for it. He'll go for the push right here, and he'll split the left and the center flanks right down the middle. Not much that blue can do. He doesn't have any reserves to commit here, and trying to rotate forces, I don't think that would be wise. No. Instead, blue's plan of attack, it looks like, is that he's just going to go into the center. He did commit a lot of his infantry to the center. Red's counter deployment of his guards and heavier. Oh, he's got heavy cavalry in this forest as well. Oh, Lord, okay. I think the play here that he's trying to do is that instead of trying to defend this, he's just going to try commit, and it's going to come down to which side is going to chicken out first or breaks first. Either way, contesting the point now in the left. Blue has it under control. Red has 3 artillery here, yeah, but no, blue's artillery is in a much better position to get enfilade fire on this entire line coming up there here. We'll see. We'll see whether or not the artillery prevails to help out on that. On the right side here, yeah, Red decided not to go for it. He made moves. He stepped off the elevation. Then he redeployed all into line formation across the entire side, all the way to the edge of the map. These guys aren't really doing much. He's got this 1 6-pounder artillery next to the town here, but blue has superior artillery, but red doesn't quite know that. I think around about this time he ought to have figured it out. Most of blue's forces have all been detected. Yeah. These guys either need to make a push, which I don't think would be a good idea, or they need to be rotated around, rotated around to the center. This trying to just keep them staring at each other like that is not gonna work out too well in the long run. Okay, yeah, red went for it. Red saw the opportunity, he went for it. Blue is rapidly counter deploying. He's rotating forces from the center. He's got how many of this? He's got all his light artillery and 1 6-pounder of the horse artillery. He's restacking them here. He's reformed a reserve cavalry force. It's a mix of lancers, dragoons, and hussars, so a mix of light, heavy, and shock. On the left side here, yeah, so there's a break in the line right here. There's a break in the line right there. Is it enough? Red doesn't seem to have enough forces to really push for a breakthrough and go for an encirclement of any kind. I don't think that's quite on the cards here. In the center, the gods have done very well in holding this massive blob of blue infantry that's coming through the forest here. Very good kind of deployment on the side of red. We have a defensive semicircle pocket around here. He's given up the star to blue. Blue has managed to cross through the open, get into the woods, and take the star. Hmm. Okay, we'll see what the developments are here on this right side. Red's position seems to be all right. This breakthrough here would be interesting to see. Okay, interesting developments. Blue decides to go on the assault. Blue has decided to step off the elevation, come down into the valley here, and they're now engaged across this entire front on the right. In the center here, the reserve forces of blue, they're all still massed up. No one quite routing here. And yeah, red does not have enough forces to really push in onto the left. Oh no, he's managed to break the artillery and a couple of the line infantry here. The blue's left flank is, oh no, but blue has managed to break the leftmost flank of red. So yeah, they're pretty even actually, but there is not enough forces on red side to go for any kind of encirclement. It's still, a frontal assault kind of thing. Blue does have opportunity to go in on the left side here. However, he only has 2 light infantry that can exploit that. The rest of his cavalry has all been pulled back to defend here on his reserve. Red has made more gains in the center. He's gained this patch of forest here. Blue is still, he's got his massive blob here. His artillery all lined up on the left side of his mass infantry here. The artillery can't quite help out trying to break through these guards because it's going up elevation and into the woods. And they are still threatened by red zone, light infantry, and artillery on this side. So just counter battery fire going on that side there. Well, blue has gotten the victory point. They're about even in terms of victory points, I believe, for this bar thing up here. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I think it's not going to come down to points or anything. I don't know. Judging by the length of the replay, it might just be either one player gives up or it might come down to points. Okay. Despite the fact not having any light units or skirmisher units, Blue has just decided to go for the exploit. Oh, okay, I see what he's doing. He's trying to pin down these routed units. So long as there's an enemy unit near a routed unit, they won't be able to reorg and re-enter the battle. So he's just chasing them down. Okay, fair place. Um, Red is favored here in terms of terrain. He has managed to break some of his artillery here. One of the 6-pounders is gone. But it's still very much a frontal assault. It's just that the lines have just pivoted almost 180 in this case here. Blue has gone on the far left, swung around here, and red has just kind of pivoted on the spot and is now facing backwards to his deployment zone. That's interesting. We have cavalry redeployments. Okay, so we think we might have opportunity on blue side here to get a flank with these cav and try to turn this flank right here of red's battle line on the left side. That's going to be interesting to see. In the center here, no, red, upon seeing the reserves get brought up and concentrated, didn't go for any exploitation or breakthrough. He didn't have enough forces to do that. In the center, Blue's still fighting for the patch of forest here. He's all right. No real threat of a breakthrough. Still, just this is a bloody fight right here. These guys, blue with the mass of infantry, he has outnumbered red, but red just stacked all of his guards. Yep, that's going. That's going indeed. Everything else on the line is somewhat static. No real clear advantage here. Although red is slightly favored in the position over here. Blue is actually managing a breakthrough on this side. He's managed to break and route two line infantry, the skirmishers, and the light. Red has artillery in place to counter this. This will be interesting to see on that flank. Oh, that was it. Blue wins. Okay, I'm a little bit confused. There is still turns to play. Blue has control of this victory point. He's not threatening the center. And he does have forces that actually can cap the left. He does have more points on the board. I guess the position is deteriorated to the point that red doesn't seem to be confident enough in trying to get a win here. Um, he's got forces into the rear of the center here. They've flanked around from the right. He's got breakthrough on the right. Oh, he's got a star on the right side here. He doesn't have any reserves to commit. Ah, okay, I can see. I can see why. Yeah, red's forces are all too spread out. They're all quite isolated. And blue does have now the superior position. He's in behind his own lines, behind red lines. He's got forces on the back left here as well. He can very easily threaten the next victory point on that side. Yep, blue has much better cohesion in his army, much more well concentrated. This fight in the center here, I reckon red might be able to get a win out of that. But overall, as the whole match, yeah, I can see why. Well, it was a great game. Lots and lots of fighting. I think I quite prefer the smaller games though, much easier to analyze and commentate. There's like because so many units all across the whole board. Good lord. Yep. But I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it.